clap for the Angle Podcast and feel the power.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Angle proudly presents the world's most talked about pro wrestling sensation.
It's the Angle Podcast. How exciting!
Pour yourself a drink and get comfy on your couch. We are a short time away from a history-making night. Impact Wrestling Slammiversary coming to you live at 8 p.m. Before we get to that show, this is the show before the show, the Angle's Impact Wrestling Slammiversary pre-show. The first ever Impact Wrestling pre-show done by the Angle. I'm your host, Joey Karni. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe down below to stay up to date with all the Angle's activity right here on YouTube. Now tonight I'll be going over all the matches on tonight's card, breaking down everything you need to know before the show goes live, like I said, at 8 p.m. Now to do that, I'll have help from my friends at the Dropkick Podcast, as well as some familiar faces you may know, some from the past and some from the present of Impact Wrestling. Now we are going to head to the Angle Zoom room to talk with our friends from the Dropkick Podcast about 3 specific matches that the world is ready to witness. One of those being for the X Division Championship, the champion Willie Mack defending his title against Chris Bay. The second one being the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, the champion Moose defending against one of the greatest hardcore legends of all time, Tommy Dreamer. Now that third match that we will be discussing is for the Impact Wrestling Heavyweight Championship, a Fatal 4 elimination match with 3 announced competitors thus far. 1 remaining, we don't know who it's going to be. Right now we have Ace Austin, Eddie Edwards, and Trey. And like I said, that 4th member has yet to be announced. We're going to head right now to talk to the Dropkick Podcast about their thoughts and who they think are going to be winning these 3 specific matches. Welcome, Angle fans, back to the Zoom room. I'm here with Daniel and Vikram from the Dropkick Podcast. We're going to be talking about a lot of our favorite matches that we see on the card for Slammiversary, Impact's big pay-per-view. There's a lot of stuff going on right now, especially with 7/18 on the horizon. Well, it's now actually. And that's that 90-day no-compete clause from superstars who were released from WWE back in April. So there's a lot of speculation going on. But I do want to start off with the X Division Championship match between Chris Bay and Willie Mack. What do you guys think about this match?
I think this has the potential to be a show stealer because Chris Bay and Willie Mack, they're both great in-ring competitors. I know this is a huge match for Chris Bay. He actually explained it to us. If you guys want to check that out on the Dropkick Podcast, available on YouTube and Spotify. We had Chris Bay on. He spoke about his X Division title match. And this is a really big deal to him. And honestly, I predict Chris Bay to get the win over Willie Mack. I think Willie Mack has had a pretty good run, but I think it's time for the ultimate finesser to take over Impact. And I just feel like, obviously completely different gimmicks, but Chris Bay gives me like that Seth Rollins 2018 feeling where it's almost like the workhorse, or the Miz in 2016, like the workhorse of Impact. And I feel like he's going to get that X Division Championship, and soon enough, he's going to make that Impact's most entertaining title, and then he's going to go for that world title. So I predict Chris Bay
for sure
to win the X Division title.
We did see that kind of happen with Ace Austin too when he held that title, and he's in the main event picture. So that is definitely a possibility. What do you think, Daniel?
Like Vikram mentioned, this title is a stepping stone to the world title. You know what I mean? So I think the ultimate finesser will take this one in the bag, and he's going to run with it. I think he's going to have a great run. He's such a phenomenal wrestler, and his passion for this business is incredible. Like, we talked to this dude for 18 minutes, but it felt like it was, it was like 2 minutes really, but then he's so passionate. I think having his music out there, having his whole charisma, gimmick, you name it, this guy's got it. He's going to prove why he's the ultimate finesser on Saturday.
Awesome, man. I was live at an Impact show back in November last year. I sat in the front row when they came to New York, and I saw Willie Mack perform, and this guy, for his size, can go, man. Like, this guy can go flying off the top rope. I had like his sweat get smacked off like into the front row. It was crazy. I couldn't believe this guy's moveset. But I do have to agree with you here. Chris Bay is really on the rise right now in Impact Wrestling. I predict that he's going to get that win somehow over Willie Mack.
Oh, yeah, man.
Absolutely.
So we're all in agreement here. It's going to be Willie. I mean, it's going to be Chris. Sorry.
Chris Bay, yeah.
Chris Bay is going to win the title.
Getting that win. All right. The next match I do want to talk about is one that is kind of a little interesting to me, but a little, I don't know. I'm a little confused because we have a World Championship match, and then we have another World Championship match. The TNA World Heavyweight Championship, the apparent champion Moose will be defending against a legend in Tommy Dreamer. What do you guys think about Tommy Dreamer being in a world title match in 2020? First off,
well, all right. First of all, Tommy Dreamer, complete legend. He's good in the ring, and I still think he has what it takes to put on a very good match. However, I do feel as though Tommy Dreamer is kind of in this match just to get eyes on Impact.
of course.
You know, we got rumors of like Heath Slater coming in, Eric Young, EC3, people who will get the eyes there, but I'm pretty sure they want those people to be surprises, and I think one of their biggest names that they got right now is Tommy Dreamer, and they're going to take advantage of it, but I don't see him winning the championship. I think he's in this match to get more pay-per-view buys for Slammiversary, and I think Moose is retaining the TNA World Championship.
Okay.
For sure.
And I think that also that promo, I don't know if you guys saw it, but that promo that Tommy Dreamer gave about 2 weeks ago on Moose, it was like a 5-minute promo, and he talked about how he couldn't cut it in the NFL. He can't cut it as a professional wrestler. And he was bleeding, and he kind of like punched himself, and he's like, this is all real, it's authentic. And one of the greatest promos I think I've seen of 2020 thus far. And I never thought I would come from Tommy Dreamer.
Absolutely. Tommy Dreamer, he's always been talented in so many ways, you know, great in the ring. He I don't think he refuses to take any spots in matches. And of course, great on the mic. That promo was absolutely amazing.
And what you said too, Vikram, about these big stars maybe coming to Impact, I don't think it's going to be happening at the Slammiversary pay-per-view. I think that if they're going to have like a lot of guys come in and women, it's going to be spread out over time with surprises.
Yeah,
throw it out at Slammiversary. But I also do see the TNA World Heavyweight Championship kind of being positioned as the TV title, where it's going to be an opportunity for new people to step up because Moose is this big bad guy. And as dominant as he's been, I think after Tommy Dreamer in this match, I think we're going to see guys who we haven't maybe seen before step up, or, you know, returning stars like Mike Kanellis if he comes back to Impact. But I definitely see this title being repositioned as like their TV championship, where it's just an opportunity to step up to Moose. It builds Moose up as this huge heel, which is what they're trying to do. But I have to predict, honestly, Moose is gonna retain his title.
I got Moose here as well. Tommy Dreamer is an ECW original. He is so good, but like Vikram said, it's just to get eyes on the product. And like you said, it could be positioned as a TV title for guys like Matt Cardona to come in and, you know, challenge him for like a one-off or something. And you know, you never know what can happen. So I got Moose here, but yeah. Should be great.
Awesome, so we're all predicting a Moose win here.
Yeah.
Cool. Now the match that I think is going to be the show stealer, the main event for the Impact Wrestling Heavyweight Championship,
amazing.
Fatal 4-Way elimination match. I actually didn't know it was an elimination match until recently, which is going to make it that much more interesting. We have 3 of the 4 competitors announced right now. We have Ace Austin, the youngest, I think, champion ever, or one of the youngest Impact champions ever. We have Trey, who is on the rise as well, feuding currently with Ace Austin, but now being thrown into that mix for the world title, which is a great opportunity for him and the Rascals to really be positioned as a top force in Impact. And then we have Eddie Edwards, who has been at the top before. He's held the title before, and now that he's repackaged himself in a way, he wants that second shot at that title. But the big question here is there's one spot open, and there's a lot of guys on the roster waiting to step up, but there's also a lot of guys on the sidelines who may or may not have signed already that we don't know about. So I want to know you guys' opinions, one, on this match. But before we do that, I want to ask you, who do you think is this mystery opponent? Is it a TNA or Impact Wrestling superstar currently, or is it a new signee coming elsewhere?
So I honestly believe it's going to be EC3 or Eric Young, but I'm definitely going to go with EC3 to win the Impact Championship. Not only be the mystery opponent, but to win the title. I think he's been dropping some hints. Rumors are it's a former world champion, and I really think it's going to be EC3.
Yeah.
All right. And what do you think, Daniel?
I think it could be EC3, but I think it could be EC3, but Eddie Edwards, I think they're gonna, have Eddie Edwards win. You never know; they can pull a swerve, and I think Eddie Edwards got this in the bag.
All right. There was a question that I saw someone post on Twitter, and they're like, is this just Impact's way of kind of surprising us in a way with not a new superstar, but maybe it's Tessa.
You think so? You think they're going to pull
that?
That?
They kind of worked out their issues to kind of make her, I don't know. Maybe it's Tessa. I don't know. There has been no word of her, going anywhere. I mean, there have been reports that she's in talks with WWE, but I don't believe any of these reports until they're, actually coming to reality. So
actually true, right?
It can be Tessa. There's a long list of people who it can be. In my opinion, I think it's EC3.
Could be, man. Never know.
It could be EC3. But now that we kind of have our picks for who this mystery opponent will be, this match, who do you guys see winning or leaving Slammiversary as the new Impact Wrestling Heavyweight Champion?
I honestly think it's either – I wouldn't be surprised if it was Trey Miguel, to be honest. I feel like he's just been on the rise. And like you said earlier, if they're going to have the Rascals kind of rise to the next level in Impact, I could see it being Trey Miguel or the mystery opponent, who I do see being EC3. But I'm going to go with EC3 for my firm pick to be the new champion.
What do you think, Daniel?
I don't think they're going to put the title on someone who's, coming back. Let's say an EC3 comes with. I don't think they would do that because I feel like it would be a slap in the face of guys like Eddie Edwards. So I think Eddie Edwards is going to take this, run with it, and they're going to build a feud with Eddie Edwards and whoever's the mystery opponent. You know what I mean? So let's say it's EC3. They would do EC3 and Eddie Edwards for the next TV taping or whatever.
Okay. And I do have to kind of agree with you there, Daniel. I don't think that they're going to put the title on someone returning to the company. And I have a theory.
That's what I'm saying.
For whoever it is. I think, and I believe this in my heart, in my soul, I believe that Ace Austin is going to leave with the Impact Wrestling Championship. I think that this guy, he's just been booked so well in Impact.
Yeah.
He is over with the crowd. Despite being a heel, people love him. He has been able to do everything asked of him thus far. Carry the X Division Championship and the division. I remember when I first started watching Impact again, because I went on a hiatus just like the rest of the world over the last few years, and Ace Austin was part of that reason why my eyes went back to Impact Wrestling's product.
He's really good.
He's really good. And even when I spoke with him in May of this year on my podcast, he said he wants to be the youngest world champion in Impact history. And he's motivated and he's ready, to get to the next level. I honestly am predicting that he's going to be the guy to win it. Now, when he does win it, if he does, in my opinion, when he does, I think he's going to feud with that title, for that title with Trey. That's going to be the main event, for a little while. Eddie Edwards, sure. I think is going to be put on a great showing in this match, but I think he is going to start feuding with whoever is returning. So it's going to break out into two different storylines, I think. If it is
happen, yeah.
Mike Kanellis, if it is EC3 or EY, whoever it is, I think to bring them back and put them in a feud with Eddie Edwards, kind of replacing Michael Elgin in that sense, where they were having such a great feud right under the world title picture.
Yeah.
So I think whoever's going to come back is going to feud with Eddie, get their face known again in the company. And Ace is going to win that title. He's going to feud with Trey for the upcoming while. And Ace Austin's going to be Impact Wrestling champion, man.
Can't wait for the match. It's gonna be a show stealer.
It's going to be great. It's going to be a Slammiversary main event that we're all going to remember. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I think it's going to be a very exciting show.
And for me personally, even if they weren't going to bring back a former world champion, the card in itself is just fantastic. I mean, to me, these are WrestleMania caliber matches for Impact to put on. And I'm looking forward to this whole card. I'm excited for every match on the card, all the surprise returns, new champions. There's so much going down at Impact Slammiversary this year. It's probably one of the most hyped pay-per-views of 2020 thus far.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. It's definitely up there for sure. I'm excited for it. Like you said earlier, I'm more excited for it than most other pay-per-views this year. And I do think that they're definitely going to deliver.
Awesome, man. For people listening, where could they check out your podcast, the Dropkick Podcast? Let the people know. What do you guys do?
Yes, of course. So the Dropkick Podcast is a podcast about professional wrestling and mental health. Here and there we'll have like a comedian or actor, MMA fighter, but it's typically people in the professional wrestling business speaking about mental health and their careers in wrestling. We've had guests like TJP, we've had guests like Chris Bay, like mentioned earlier, Tyson Kidd, and more. And you can find it on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, The VP Show. There will be a playlist called the Dropkick Podcast. And we're also available on Spotify, which is also the Dropkick Podcast. You can look at clips on Instagram at the Dropkick Podcast, and we post on our stories all the time. My Instagram is at Vikram Prashar, VIKRAM_PRASHAR. And then Daniel's Instagram at DanielMate, DANIALM8. And that's pretty much all our social media handles. And definitely give our podcast a listen. We're up and coming, and I think we're gonna make some big moves for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome, man. I'm excited to hear more from you guys. I'm excited to have you guys on my Extreme Rules pre-show tomorrow for WWE. So it's going to be awesome to have you guys back on for that. I want to thank you guys for coming on, talking Impact Wrestling, and we'll see you down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I want to thank Vikram and Daniel from the Dropkick Podcast for stopping by and taking the time to join the show and give some great perspective, some great insight into tonight's Slammiversary pay-per-view. Some really great points they had. I'm excited to hear if some of those predictions come true, especially the predictions that were made for tonight's main event for the Impact Wrestling Heavyweight Championship. Now, to take that a little further, we are going to head back to the Zoom room and hear some comments from one of those challengers. We're going to hear right now from Ace Austin.
It just molds so well.
Yeah, exactly. It's just you got to look at what's in front of you. You can't force stuff. You can't force anything. You got to look at what's in front of you, and you got to just follow. You got to play it where it lies. They looked at me for what I was and what I was capable of. Especially beginning a career on television, and Impact has done an incredible job at building stars for the last couple of years. So.
Yeah, you know what it is? A lot of people think that WWE is that place where you go there, they build you to a star. It's not necessarily true. If you look at the past history, a lot of the guys that, at least right now, I would say, a lot of guys that are in WWE came from Impact.
Yeah.
They're not rebranded, they're not repackaged, or they're who they were.
It seems like Impact is where people go, before WWE or after.
Yeah.
It's always.
Yeah. Now I was in New York City because I'm in New Jersey, New York area, and I was at the Impact tapings in November when you guys were there in New York, and I went with my dad and a friend, and my dad's not really into wrestling. I took him just to take him, and I asked him after the show. He told me, he goes, "Dude, this was so much better than what I see in WWE." I'm like, "I know, I'm telling you." We were sitting in front row. We watched all the tapings. And I asked him, I said, what's what's one thing that you remember most from the show? And he goes, that guy with the purple hair. But he was just such a fan. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
What so far has been your favorite like feud or story that you've been in?
Probably, I mean, the X Division title, man. It was the culmination of 5. To some, it would seem like 5, short years because it takes people much longer typically. But for me, it was 5, years of just nothing but the grind, just nose to the grindstone, and being able to call myself the second youngest X Division champion in the title's history.
Yeah.
Meant a lot to me because one thing that, you fall in love with pro wrestling. A huge part of it is falling in love with those, those moments and those memories that really like touch you, and to be able to like capture one of those moments and really be like in the center of it, especially, when I can remember a time only 6 short years ago where I was just a fan.
Of course.
Wow.
Yeah, that's true. And back to what you were saying about, grinding to not just have a seat at the table, but you want to be, the top of the table. And, also back to what I was saying with bringing the interest back. The X Division, I mean, it wasn't it was memorable at first, and then it kind of dropped off a little bit. And then when you came into it, I mean, the X Division is what people talk about, regarding Impact Wrestling. I mean, look at the match, for example, from last night on Impact. It's just incredible how you're really at the top of that X Division, the division itself, and you kind of refaced, the whole thing.
Yeah, and I'm very proud of that, and I hope that that's something, that people will remember.
Of course, and now that, you said the X Division, it's something that you've been there, done it, you're moving on to new horizons. Where do you see Ace Austin going? You go into, the main event scene with the world title. Someone asked on Twitter if you'd see yourself entering the tag team division. Like where's that future for Ace Austin?
Well, considering what I did with the X Division, that was almost like a trial run. I don't see why there's no reason why I can't be the absolute face of this company, and why I can't change the whole damn thing and mold it in my image again.
Oh, I believe it, man. I said on my show, probably it was right around that time I was at the Impact tapings, and I said on my show, listen, I have to get somehow Ace Austin on the show because this guy is the future of the damn business. All the stars, everything is there, and he's so young. I mean, so you're thinking really world title.
Why not?
Yeah, I mean, I see it. It's only a matter of time.
It is indeed.
Now, there's one match on the card that I've especially been looking forward to over the last few weeks, and that is for the Impact Wrestling World Tag Team titles. The North defending their titles against the new formed allies of Ken Shamrock and Sami Callihan. Now, we've seen over the last few months, Sami Callihan and Ken Shamrock beating each other half to death in the parking lot, outside, in the ring. Everywhere they possibly could have gone, they have gone, and they tried to literally take each other out limb for limb. Tonight, they joined forces. A new friendship formed. Let's see if they can possibly become the new Impact Wrestling Tag Team Champions. I am predicting right now that Ken Shamrock and Sami Callihan do become the new Impact Wrestling Tag Team Champions. They are going to defeat the North. I feel it in my soul, and what a moment that will be. It's been a long time since we've seen Sami Callihan on the right side of history, and I'm excited to see that all happen tonight. Like I said, I am predicting now Sami Callihan and Ken Shamrock will somehow, some way defeat the North and become the new Impact Wrestling Tag Team Champions. Now, while we are on the topic of tag team matches at Slammiversary, it was announced earlier this week that the Rascals will be issuing an open challenge to any team who would like to make their presence known. Now, there are so many rumors and speculation regarding new tag teams that have possibly signed with Impact Wrestling over the last few weeks. We know that 7/18/20 was the end of that 90-day no-compete clause from the superstars who were released back in April from the WWE. A lot of rumors, like I said, a lot of speculation. I have a feeling I have a really good gut feeling that this match, this open challenge by the Rascals, will just be too sweet. I am predicting now that Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson will be making their way to Impact Wrestling. They are going to be taking out the Rascals tonight at Slammiversary. I just feel it in my soul. There have been rumors that they have signed with the company. I'm not sure. Maybe we're going to see another tag team. Who knows? Maybe we'll see Heath Slater make his way to Impact Wrestling and tag with his former tag team champion buddy, Rhino. We don't know. There's a lot of speculation, like I said. But deep down in my soul, I feel like this match, the Rascals Open Challenge, is going to be too sweet with Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson somehow, some way, getting a win over the Rascals. Now, there's one superstar who has been making her presence known throughout the world, throughout Impact Wrestling, and all over social media, and that is the virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo. She is competing tonight for the Impact Wrestling Knockouts Championship against Jordynne Grace. This match has been going back and forth over the last few weeks. We've seen Deonna Purrazzo get the best of Jordynne Grace. Now we see Jordynne Grace kind of taken back, getting that revenge on Deonna Purrazzo. This match is really going to be back and forth, but I think tonight we're going to see the Fujiwara armbar really come into play. I am predicting now that there will be a new Impact Wrestling Knockouts champion, and that will be Deonna Purrazzo. I think that she's going to make Jordynne Grace tap out. Jordynne Grace has had a great run thus far with the Knockouts Championship. She's defeated everyone put in her way from way back when, defeating Taya Valkyrie for that title. But I think tonight we're going to see a new champion crown. Deonna Purrazzo finally getting that spotlight she very well deserves, become the new Knockouts champion. Now, I know I said earlier in the show that we'll be hearing from the past and present of Impact Wrestling, and that's exactly what we're going to do right now. We're going to head back to the Zoom room for more analysis on tonight's Knockouts matches with none other than one of the greatest knockouts of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be welcomed right now in the Zoom room with Gail Kim.
I'm so excited to see the Knockouts wrestle tonight. I'm definitely going to watch, and it's hard to say. I really don't know what's going to happen. There's so many great girls in this Knockouts gauntlet. Based off of how I feel right now, I think the two people that I'm going to have to guess that may come out on top, in my opinion, is either going to be Kiera Hogan, or because she's been on such a roll, and I love that she's just come into her own lately. And probably I'm going to say maybe Kylie, because Kylie has always been a superstar. I love her energy. I love her happiness, and I think she's a fan favorite. In terms of the women's match, this is going to be a good one, because I really didn't expect Deonna to show up at those last tapings, and I'm really excited to see what she's got. I know she's a great technical wrestler, but Jordan's a beast. I've worked with her now for a couple of years, so I'm going to pick her to retain, and who knows, we're all going to find out tonight, and I hope you really enjoy the pay-per-view. Bye.
I want to thank Gail Kim for stopping by and giving some great insight into tonight's Knockouts Championship match. I also want to give a special shout out to my friends Daniel and Vikram from the Dropkick Podcast for stopping by and taking the time to talk about some of the matches on tonight's Slammiversary card. I also want to give a third shout out to one of the challengers, Ace Austin, for stopping by a few months ago, giving some really great thoughts as where he wants to go and where he is tonight at Slammiversary. We are only minutes from Impact Wrestling Slammiversary going live at the top of the hour, 8 p.m. I'm really extremely excited for tonight's card. It's going to be one of the greatest nights in Impact Wrestling's history. I want to thank you guys all for tuning in, listening to some perspective, some past and present voices of Impact Wrestling. I'll be live tweeting the entire show tonight. You can tweet along with me at The Angle Radio on Twitter. I'll be answering everybody's comments, concerns, questions, whatever you want to throw at me. Throw it. I'll be happy to answer. Like I said, live tweeting the entire show tonight. Once again, thank you for tuning in. And like I said at the beginning of the show, pour yourself a drink, get comfy on the couch. It is now time for Impact Wrestling Slammiversary. Enjoy the show.
Hi guys, this is Gail Kim from Impact Wrestling, and you are listening to the Angle Podcast. Follow and subscribe for amazing content.